Want some inside tricks on making thumbnails and layouts for your comics? Then you need to check this video out. Hello everyone, it's me, your old pal Max West. As you know, I draw comics and I do children's picture books. And today I want to talk about something very important with making comics, and that is with doing thumbnails, also called layouts. Now, what exactly is a thumbnail? Well, I'm not talking about one of these. What I'm talking about is basically preparation sketches for before you actually draw the comic on the page. Okay, now maybe you're a bit confused there. I mean, you know, why do I need some thumbnail? I mean, can't I just draw anything I want? Well, the purpose of comics is to tell some kind of story, like a short joke, or maybe an action and adventure story, or maybe some kind of drama. We humans, you see, we're creatures of order. When we look at something, like a book, or an advertisement, or a movie, or a comic page, you know, we don't just look at it, we try to read it, we try to find some sense of order in there. And if, you know, if we can't see an obvious one, our brain will try to make order there. And if your comics just look like one big mess on the page without your readers knowing, you know, where am I supposed to look next? What's going on? You know, you've lost your readers, and that's the kiss of death for any comic. Be it a webcomic, a graphic novel, manga. Alright, I've talked about the importance of doing thumbnails. Now, how do you actually do them? Well, I'll get to that in just a moment. I'm going to talk a little bit about writing, too, because that does tie into doing a thumbnail. Now, once you've got your idea down, as I talked about before in the last video, now you need to do some preparatory sketches. Do a thumbnail or two on the page. Now, the structure I usually follow, and many others do, is something called the 3-act structure. This is a standard in screenplays for movies. People do this too in comics. It's a must-have for, you know, comic strips like this, which I'll show you in just a moment. Of course, it can work for longer stories too, be it your typical superhero comic, or your 300-page graphic novel, or that wacky manga that you got at the store. Now, what exactly is the 3-act structure? The 3-act structure consists of 3 specific parts. The first part, we have the setup. The second part, the conflict. And the third part, resolution. I'll give you an example. This is a comic strip I did of Poison Ivy Gulch. Now here we have the characters. We have Rigor Mortis. He's the local undertaker. And he's visiting the newspaper office operated by this guy, Tab Stop, Poison Ivy Gulch's resident newspaper man. Alright. Mr. Stop, your office has papers everywhere. Those are for my research. On what? Well, next week's paper is about littering. Alright, there you have the 3-act structure in place. This first panel, with Rigor Mortis just yelling at Tab Stop about all the big mess in his office. This essentially is the setup. And now we have the conflict here in this panel. Tab Stop is explaining, you know, this isn't a mess, that's for his research. And Rigor Mortis wants to know, what is this research for? in this third panel resolution where the conflict is resolved. He explains the paper is about littering, and that's why we have the mess. He's doing research for littering. Now, try applying the three-act structure to comic strips out there. Peanuts, Calvin and Hobbes, Garfield, Wizard of Id, as well as some of the online webcomics like Penny Arcade and Order of the Stick and PvP by Scott Kurtz. Alright. I'm going to give you a short demonstration now of myself doing a thumbnail. Now, when it comes to me, I usually don't do thumbnails with short works like comic strips or gag cartoons. I usually tend to work spontaneously. Still, though, I'm going to show you this here for our illustrative purposes. Now, I'm planning a comic strip for this demo here, for this demonstration on how to make comics. It's going to involve cooking. Now, when you're working with thumbnails, they shouldn't be detailed, they should be very basic. You're just doing quick sketches to see if your idea or your writing works. When I do thumbnails for Sunnyvale Stories and Dominic and Claire, I tend to use stick figures. This is a story I'm going to be doing for Poison Ivy Gulch. Here we have the setup. I have Ace here. Now this is a rough sketch. We're going to see his head here, and he's going to be looking downwards and speaking. Again, I stick to stick figures. Now, when you're doing a thumbnail, don't obsess over it. I mean, don't draw something beautifully rendered. I mean, what if you put a lot of work into making a thumbnail, it looks beautiful, but it doesn't actually work on the page? Then you've wasted a whole bunch of time. Remember, thumbnails are essentially preparatory sketches. Okay. But Ace okay, that's the joke. But Ace, I thought you liked chunky soup. Essentially, the joke here is that Lotta serves Ace basically a big gelatinous block of what's supposed to be soup. It's chunky soup, like the canned soup brand. Lotta, what's this? But Ace, I thought you liked chunky soup. We have the setup, we have the conflict, we see the block of soup there, Lotta saying. And even though this is all one panel, the resolution is in there because here we have Ace giving a side glance to us, the readers. See? Setup, conflict, resolution. I'll just give you... Now you see how that flows? This, of course, would work here. If I were to pencil this right now, I'd probably use it like that. Of course, some people, they're not happy with doing just one. Even if the first one works, They may do multiple examples of thumbnails. They may try doing the standard 3-panel. They might do doing a 4-panel that follows the same structure: setup, conflict, resolution. Or they may try all to fit it in one whole panel here. Here I trust my instincts. I feel this one is the best, so I'm going to go with this for the comic strip. And that, friends, is how you do comics thumbnails. Try practicing some of these on your own. Read some of the comic strips I mentioned, both newspaper comics and webcomics. See how they're set up. Try doing a few thumbnails of your own for some practice. Well, that's it for this video today. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, subscribe to my channel. Also hit the bell icon to be notified of new videos. If you want to check out more of my work, take a look at the links below. Until later, everybody, this is me, your old pal Max West, saying goodbye.